Hello, hello. I'm Christy Casholo with the Global Keto Connection, and we are going to make keto caramel flan. Essentially, is what it is. We got the recipe from I Breathe I'm Hungry, which we have pinned, and we'll pin it again to this video once it's done. And I'm just waiting for Catherine to come on while I explain what we're doing. And welcome. Trying to get Catherine on here. So we're gonna make this keto caramel flan with you guys live today. Hi, good morning.
Hi.
How are you?
I'll step back. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Okay, so today we are making the keto caramel flan recipe, which was pinned as a low carb salted caramel egg fast recipe, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so with the original recipe, we are it's made with ingredients that are just approved for egg fast.
Right.
So eggs, cheese, butter, and then
the sugar,
the sweetener, yeah. And then they add water. Well, we made a batch yesterday, and making it with the water makes it very thin, but is egg fast approved. So
it's light and fluffy, but it is egg fast approved. There's mine.
So today we're gonna try something a little bit different to make it a little thicker and a little more creamy. So what we're gonna do is, in lieu of the water, we're going to be adding some coconut milk.
Got mine.
Okay, so what we've done, now this recipe is supposed to make 2 servings.
Mm-hmm.
However, I am using these tiny little ramekins. So because I'm using these tiny little ramekins, I actually had it filled to the top and had extra like batter left over. So I'm gonna do 3 for the amount of the recipe.
Gotcha. I'm using 2 of these. They're the bigger ones. Probably a little bit bigger than the ones that I made yesterday, size-wise. My husband already requested the biggest one for today.
Okay, so let's get started.
Alrighty. Can you
with the recipe? Oh, so the first thing we need to do is we need to preheat our ovens.
Oh, yes.
The oven temp that we need to set, I believe, is 325 Fahrenheit or 162 Celsius. In case you're in Europe or maybe Canada, I'm not sure if you guys use Celsius or Fahrenheit.
All right, got mine on.
Okay. So we need to make the sauce first. So according to the pinned recipe, the caramel sauce that you use is simply butter, sweetener, and some caramel extract.
Oops.
I do not have caramel extract, but I do have this that Catherine was kind enough to bring to me when we met up in December. So I am using, and she is using this in. So the recipe.
And I'm gonna put mine in the microwave. You're doing yours on the stove?
Yes. According to the recipe, you do it in the microwave. I don't have a microwave, so I'm doing it stovetop. Okay. And I'll point you guys down so you can see what I'm doing a little bit more.
And I'm using unsalted butter, so I'm gonna have to add some salt because it calls for salted butter because it's salted caramel sauce. So how much do you think I should add?
Of the salt?
Salt, yes.
Oh, I would say maybe 1/4 teaspoon.
Okay.
So now here was something that I noticed personally yesterday, was that the recipe, when you make the sauce, the caramel sauce, it calls for 2 tablespoons salted butter, 2 tablespoons granulated sugar substitute, and 1/4 teaspoon of the caramel extract. 2 tablespoons of the granulated sugar substitute was just too sweet for me.
Okay.
So for me, and I know the idea is to get a more of a caramel sauce. It doesn't come out like a thick sauce, you guys. It's just for flavor.
Right.
So I am doing melting my butter with a teaspoon.
Okay.
Probably 2 teaspoons because I'm gonna have 3 of these and it's gonna all even out. So 2 teaspoons of the sweetener and then 1/4 teaspoon of the caramel. Now something I would say I added about a teaspoon of the caramel myself because I wanted it a little strong on the flavor.
Mm-hmm. And I'm having to open packets because I was going to use my monk fruit, but I got fooled again.
You did?
It has, yep, maltodextrin in my monk fruit.
Oh no! Well, that's something for everybody to watch out.
Yep. So yeah, because it says to use granulated sugar. So, wow, fooled me.
So, just so everybody knows, with the recipe, that it says that once you make this sauce, it cools while your custards bake, and then you can pour it over your custard just before serving. I wanted it to be more like a caramel flan. So what I did was I actually poured it into the ramekins to be baked with the custard.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I pulled it out just before serving, I actually used my sugar-free caramel syrup.
Okay.
Because it gave me more of that thick, syrupy flan feel.
Gotcha. Well, I pulled out some maple bourbon pecan syrup that I thought I might like that too.
That sounds really good.
Yeah. Okay, so I have the butter and the sugar and my salt, and now I just add because I didn't do the caramel sauce yesterday, so this part's all new for me. And how much of the sweet drops did you say? A quarter? A teaspoon of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So here's my sauce.
So here's mine.
Smells really good. And I'm actually going to put it at the bottom of the ramekins.
Okay. Did you grease your ramekin? Okay.
I buttered the inside of the ramekins, so you don't want your custard to stick.
Mine's not very caramely. I'm gonna add a little more.
You can add some of your syrup to it as well.
Okay.
To give it that little extra, and the smell really comes out once you do that.
I think I'm gonna, or do you think I should add my maple syrup that's pretty thick?
Yes, go ahead and add the maple syrup.
Okay, I will do that.
So for everybody that's joining and watching, welcome, welcome. And as you see, Catherine and I will take a recipe and we'll change it up to our liking, and then we make it our own. And that's pretty much what we're doing as we make these caramel custards, which are turning into our keto caramel flan.
There you go. Let's see what we got now. That's good. I have to tell you, I've never had flan before.
Oh, you haven't? Oh my gosh,
Nope.
I love it. And a boss that I used to have would make the best flan, and she would bring it to work. And I got to tell you, I never liked flan before I had hers.
Really? Now, I will say that what I had on the cruise ship, I thought it was cake until I cut into it, but I believe it probably was some sort of a custard flan because it had like a mango thing that was at the bottom. So it probably was a flan, but I don't know. It was pretty and it sure tasted good. Alrighty, so I got that.
Okay, so now we're going to make the filling for our custard. And that's 2 eggs, which should be room temperature.
Got that.
The recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of sweetener. Again, I'm just going to use 2 teaspoons. And it says granulated for anybody that's wondering. I felt like this was a perfect amount of sweetness for me. And then it calls for 2 ounces of cream cheese. But for some extra thickness, I think I'm going to go ahead and use 3 ounces, which is going to be okay. It's not going to give me any extra carbs because I'm dividing this by 3 instead of dividing it by 2.
Right.
So I'm going to put that in here.
Alrighty.
And then it just calls for, let's see, 1.5 teaspoons of caramel extract.
And I'm using this again too, aren't you?
I am. I'm going to use
And
that.
how much are you doing?
It says 1.5. I'm going to do what it says.
Okay. Whoops. I made it squirt all over the top of the stove. I hate it when that happens.
And then it calls for 3/4 cup of water. So again, the water did make it very, very thin and light. It is an egg fast recipe. That's why it's saying water. But I'm going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and use this coconut milk.
And we'll let everybody know which one.
And I think I'm just going to do 1/2 cup.
Oh, really?
Instead of 3/4 cup. Do you think to go ahead and go to the 3/4 cup?
I'm doing 3/4. You can do half. We'll see what happens. Right?
Too late. I did 3/4. Which was perfect because it took me on my little thing. It took me to the max line.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so now all you gotta do is blend this.
Alrighty. It's gonna get noisy.
Give us just a minute. And you just have to do it till it's all smooth.
Mine looks smooth. I'm going to turn my water on for my bakery.
So here it is, all nice and smooth. So now I'll just pour it in. I love this one too because it has the handle.
That's nice.
Isn't that cute?
That's really convenient.
Pour it in.
It already looks much more rich.
Yes, it does. And I'm just going to make sure all three of mine are even.
Yeah.
So according to the recipe, which is pinned, it does say you fill it with hot water for a water bath.
Yep.
And you bake it for 30 minutes. But I'm going to let everybody know that if they're using these smaller ramekins where it fills up higher, I did have to bake it for 60 minutes. Okay. So be prepared for that.
All right.
So I have my kettle of hot water, and I'm going to fill my dish halfway up the ramekins.
Right. I got to get mine.
Okay.
Mine's running a little slow. Should we note that you shouldn't taste the flan syrup while it's really hot?
Yeah, let me tell everybody about that. I swear, if I could have had any more mishaps in the kitchen, it was crazy. Like, I burned my finger because I decided to touch the caramel syrup. What I was doing was I was trying to get a real caramel syrup out of the sweetener and butter that I was stirring and stirring and stirring. So it was boiling. I had it on the stove a really long time. And so I just kept going, and then it was turning brown, and it was doing good, but then it just wasn't getting thick, and it was making me crazy. And I thought, okay, you know what? It's just not going to happen, because then I started to smell like this burnt-ish caramel popcorn smell.
Yeah.
So I took it off, and I thought I'm just going to let it cool. And then I decided to test it. So I touched it and burned my finger, like literally scalded my finger.
Oh my gosh.
Then I took some out with a little spoon because I thought, well, maybe I could still use it. Like, it kind of had an okay taste. So then I was going to have my husband test it, and I put it on a spoon, and I blew on it, and I took it over to him and said, here, taste this. And he put his mouth right on it and burned his lips. It was terrible. Then, for whatever reason, I decided it was going to cool in a glass, and I stuck it in a glass, and the glass exploded. So, so don't do that.
It was just a day, wasn't it?
It was a day of mishaps.
Dang.
Okay, so this is all there is to the, we're going to stick it in the oven. Are you ready to go?
Yep, my water's boiling. Hold on, I'm gonna pour my water on when I get it to the oven.
Oh, okay.
But this is what I have, and I will put my water in here for my bakery.
So yeah, if you're using the whiter containers, where it's not up as high, then it should probably work 30 to 40 minutes in the oven. Again, the oven temperature is
325
Fahrenheit and 162 Celsius.
Alrighty, mine's in.
Okay. Okay, so let me just read off this recipe to you guys again. This was from I Breathe I'm Hungry. It was their egg fast caramel, salted caramel custard. We changed it a little bit, so it'll be more like a caramel flan. But it is supposed to be a recipe for 2. For me, I turned it into 3. But for the custard, it's 2 eggs, 2 ounces of cream cheese, 3/4 cup water, and 1.5 tablespoons of granulated sweetener, and 1.5 teaspoons of caramel extract. What I actually used was 2 eggs, 3 ounces of cream cheese, 3/4 cup of the coconut cream, the Thai coconut cream, 2 teaspoons of granulated sweetener, and 1.5, almost 2 teaspoons of the caramel sweet drops. For the caramel sauce, according to the pinned recipe, it's 2 tablespoons of salted butter, 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar substitute sweetener, and 1/4 teaspoon of the caramel extract. So I used 2 tablespoons of salted butter. I used 2 teaspoons of granulated sweetener. I used I think I used actually a teaspoon or half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of this. And then throw in a teaspoon of this because it made it a little more caramel. This is a sugar-free syrup. And stirred that in. So according to the pinned recipe, it says set that up in the microwave, and just before serving your custard, you pour it on top and you eat it. And it even says to eat it, just pour it on top right here and eat it right out of the dish. So what I did was I poured the syrup inside before I baked it, and then I baked it all together. And so now, let me show you. Now I should be able to. You have yours, Catherine?
I do have mine, although I did not bake mine with the sauce on the bottom. So I'm gonna
okay, so you're going to pour your sauce on top. So great. So now you can see both ways that we do it.
I just want to eat it because last night I didn't get to eat it. I tasted it, but my husband ate it.
So there it is. And as you can see, it's really light with the original sauce. And so I'm just going to add a little bit of this caramel. Roll it around.
And it's supposed to sit in the fridge for at least an hour or maybe even overnight to really set, right?
Yep. Yes, there's been a lot of suggestions to let it, to put it in the refrigerator and leave it at least 4 hours, and even let it sit overnight. It's much better. So,
Covered.
The finished product looks like for mine.
I'm coming. I'm here. Hold on. There is mine.
It's beautiful.
Let me see yours again. Let me see yours. Should we take a picture?
I don't know if we can during live.
Oh, I don't know.
It's different than in Messenger.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to try it. Huh?
That's it. That's the original egg fast recipe, salted caramel custard, low carb, which we've changed up a bit. So we'll post our changes, making it more of a keto caramel flan.
Will you sit down, please?
So I hope you guys like it. Are we going to taste it? We are going to taste it.
Oh,
okay.
Yes, let's taste it. Cheers.
Cheers. Melts in your mouth.
It sure does.
So if you guys try this and you like it, like post a pic of your food photo. Let us know what you thought of it. If you liked it, if you like the original version and you try it, or you like our version, our changes, you want to try that. Let us know which one you prefer. Super easy to make. It just needs to basically sit overnight in the fridge. Be a great idea for a little breakfast in the morning with some coffee or your dessert after dinner. Very delicious.
I don't think that your guests would even know that it was keto.
You can make it for guests. You're having dinner guests over. Make it for them as well. But if you guys like this video, feel free to share it out. Let others know what good keto cooking is. And we will keep bringing more delicious recipes to you.
And don't forget to subscribe to Global Keto Kitchen on YouTube too. It sure makes finding these videos easier instead of having to scroll through the Facebook page or trying to figure out which topic it's under.
Yes, we're going to have this pinned or posted to YouTube very shortly, later today. And
click the subscribe button or the bell so that you can get notifications when new videos go up too. So.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome, everybody,
and thank you.
Yes. Bye.